I'm just not sure that Kyler Murray is big enough. This is Tom Brady. He's not just going to retire. Whitey, big fan of the show. Appreciate I've got Brian Murphy to my left, making sure everything's smooth, crispy, buttery. James Harden is systematically ruining the game of basketball. He's the most overrated player. And there you are, the Chicago Bears with a championship defense. And Mitch, I'm sure Dancing with the Stars is happy to have Antonio back. If you thought you were going to get Zion, that's your bad.
You are now listening to Open Season. Your host, Allain.
Welcome. It's another Tuesday edition, and you're tuning in to Open Season. We are live from Seasons 52, of course. I'm Billy Allain, hanging out with the gang, Justin Allain, as we introduce back to the show Alex Torti and, of course, Frankie Bratica. We're tossing around a whole lot tonight. It's the NBA draft show. Celtics are on the clock. Everyone's on the clock. The Suns made a move for Chris Paul. I'm still scratching my head at that one, but we'll see if Gordon Hayward goes anywhere, as the Milwaukee Bucks are wheeling and dealing, trying to keep Giannis happy. They bring in Holiday. They bring in Bogdanovic. Is it going to be enough? We're going to talk about the Masters, of course, and recap this weekend. And, of course, we've got Tua looking like a franchise quarterback for years to come. But we start out, as we open up the phones at 617-702-2542, we start out with a golf minute, rather. And we got to touch on the Masters, of course. Guys, thoughts on the Masters? Who wants to take it?
Props to DJ. He's been one of the best in the game for a long time. We'll never know the truth behind the infamous falling down the stairs incident. I'm glad he didn't fall down the stairs this year, though. Extremely dominant performance by DJ.
And somebody just wants to get on us right out of the chute. We got to love it. Who do we got on the line?
Hey, yo, it's Johnny.
Johnny.
Long-time fan, first-time caller. How you doing?
Hey, doing well tonight, Johnny. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, I want to ask you a question all your viewers really want to know, and that happens to be, you got one offensive line going in with the Halloween season that just left us. You know, what offensive line do you want to protect you in the zombie apocalypse? Thank you very much.
All right. Well, Johnny, we're going to spend zero time on that and
right.
let you
That was a solid question.
I think they interrupted you, Alex. Did you have anything else to
No,
say about
DJ was incredible, man. He's faced some personal demons. Feels like one of the boys won a Masters this weekend. Proud of him.
I can agree with that. And also, for the tournament in the year that's supposed to be difficult, the Masters, to watch domination like that was really fun. I mean, you've seen it, 3 times? I think that number, and it was fun to watch. And like you said, one of the boys won. I completely agree.
Yeah, it's great to see DJ finally take that hump and get over it. For years, he's always been one of those golfers that never won a major, but has always been one of the best. The only sad thing was that it just wasn't really much of a matchup on Sunday. There wasn't really anyone that could have came close to him. So I think everyone was just looking forward to him getting the trophy, and everyone seeing Paulina Gretzky come out of the stands.
Hell yeah, well, sounds pretty good. I mean, we're going to flip the page pretty quick, though, as, the burning question on everyone's mind is looking towards the draft. Looks like we got LaMelo Ball as our consensus number 1 pick. And it looks like right before we started the show, it looks like James Harden it shouldn't be too much of a surprise because stars get absolutely whatever they want these days in the NBA, but it seems like he's going to have his way and going to be headed to the Nets. It looks like there's a trade that's been agreed on in principle. But, guys, so much to digest. Chris Paul gets moved. A couple guys get brought on to Milwaukee. And, are the Celtics actually going to do anything? What is the biggest thing on your mind as we start out with the the draft coming up?
I think it has to be what the Rockets do with 2 former MVPs. I think Russell Westbrook is going to be tougher to find a suitor for him, but he's got to go. And I think Harden's going to go, and I think that Nets thing is just perfect. It's sports porn. It's just not going to work, and they're so talented it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's the Celtics. The one thing is we've been waiting for these draft picks, and obviously none of them panned out. The Kings pick was supposed to be a lottery pick, and now it's literally just the 14th pick. Does Danny finally make a move finally trade some of these picks. They don't really even have that much value. The Gordon Hayward's a big thing. Hopefully he gets traded. Love to see Miles Turner. We need a big man. I'm sick of seeing these power forwards playing center for us. We need a big guy.
Yeah, I think the story, though, right now, it's definitely the Rockets and what's going to happen with their two superstars. I think Harden is obviously more intriguing than Westbrook. I don't think Westbrook is the final piece unless he's going somewhere to be a third star. He's proven he's not even worthwhile as I think a second star at this point in his career. Guy's got the heart of a lion, but it's just his basketball skill set is not built for the modern NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that's pretty intriguing is just James Harden. You have him meshing up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Who takes the most shots on that team? I mean, I feel like those are three guys that really can't acquiesce. I feel like Harden's probably going to end up taking the most shots. But, guys, what do you think about this proposed Nets team that we're looking at as they, probably give up some of their good young assets, but obviously bring in a three-headed monster here?
In the NBA, you need talent. So, I mean, if you're the Nets, you kind of have to do this. You have to maximize your window with Durant and with Kyrie. And I don't think Durant's going to be the problem. I mean, I think he needs affirmation. I think he's got a weak ego. But I think he's got the rings now. And I don't think Game 6 Durant is ever coming back where he has a lead up 3-1 and absolutely pisses down his leg. But I do think Kyrie and Harden are going to be the problem wherever that problem ends up manifesting itself.
So is it kind of crazy to think that James Harden might be the most mature one of the three? Like I think TLC,
I would say that definitively.
I think TLC is looking for a new show, Desperate Housewives. Like this show is going to be drama 24/7.
Hard Knocks NBA.
Hard Knocks NBA. Kyrie with the world flat. You got Durant with his fake burner accounts. You got Harden with his nightlife. It's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, if they can actually make it work, it'll be very fun basketball to watch. But we're talking about three of the biggest divas in all the NBA on one team and a first-time head coach. Good luck.
See, I actually feel as though Durant's not as big a diva as Harden or Irving because Durant's actually been in the big stage. He's won championships. Yes, he joined the Warriors, but he was the best player on that team. I don't think that's really up for discussion. What he's able to bring on both ends of the ball, of the court. I think that if Durant's taking the most shots and Irving and James Harden are the ones who take a step back, they'll be in very good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's going to be an interesting dilemma there that you have. You have three stars that probably have like 30% usage at least. I mean, those guys they all touch the ball a lot and all hold the ball a lot in order to get their points.
You know who's going to get more points? Their boy DeAndre Jordan. That's why they brought him here.
DeAndre Jordan might
40 mil. That's going to be the best friendship. He just gets brought on, gets 40 mil. At the tail end of his career, they give out like a bonus package to him. They both chip out a little money out of their salary. It's like got to be pretty sweet to be DeAndre Jordan.
I mean, without DeAndre Jordan though, like Allain is tradable now. I mean, he's obviously a better player at this point in his career, but what does DeAndre Jordan actually have to do on that team if it's those three on there? All he has to do is get rebounds.
If he gets a couple offensive rebounds a game, if he's black,
he's basically he's the weed man on that team. He doesn't even play anymore. I mean, I feel
he needs boards.
He's not Jared Dudley yet.
Yeah, he needs boards. He's still 6'11" and can jump. He needs boards, and he'll be wide open. And also, Durant can play in this scheme in the sense that Durant can take 15 shots a game and still get 30, and he doesn't need the ball nearly as much as he does. His usage rate is not nearly as high as the other two. In most games, I mean, there are games where Durant's up there, but in most games, he's significantly less than the other two. So it's how do Harden and Irving play together, and I know when it works well, like I said, it'll be sports per, it'll be beautiful. I just don't think it'll work often enough. Particularly, they'll score 150 points a bunch, but in a game decided 80-70, are they finger pointing and unhappy?
I think Kyrie gets hurt the most in this because I think Harden becomes the point guard. The ball's out of Kyrie's hands. I mean, Kyrie's points are going to go down. His assists are going to go down. Thank God he's got his Nike shoes. He's got his big everything else. But when they start losing games, Kyrie was the first one to sign. Kyrie's the Brooklyn boy. It's Kyrie's team, apparently. And I want nothing more to watch him just fail.
Does this send Kyrie from yet another team that he's created? Like he tried to go to, he tries to go to Boston because that was the team he wanted. Then he goes to the Nets, gets a lot of their young guys kicked out of there, brings in his own squad, gets the coach fired. is this yet again a situation where he could be out of town? I mean, it seems like he's going to be there for a while, but obviously you could see Kyrie Irving getting pretty pissed pretty quickly. Do you guys think, flipping the page a little bit to the Bucks, do you think they did enough? They obviously give up a haul, but bring in Jrue Holiday and give themselves a bona fide, top 3 there. And obviously bring in Bogdanovic. He's definitely going to be able to score, especially with all the people that Giannis brings to the basket. He was on a talk show last week and said that he wasn't sure what he was going to do, that it was up to Milwaukee to do something in order to keep him there. Did they do enough in your mind? They were aggressive. Were they aggressive enough?
I think that they were plenty aggressive. I love what they did. You look at Bogdanovic, kid's a stud, and he's one of those guys that just doesn't get enough love. And then you look at Jrue Holiday. I mean, you went from a C overall player in Eric Bledsoe at this point in his career to probably a B to maybe even, I don't want to say B+. He's in between a B and a B+ for Jrue Holiday. And then you're looking at Bogdanovic, who's the type of guy that can catch and shoot at 40%, play great defense, be a solid cog in offense. That starting 5 looks good now, man. It looks really, really good. They kept both Lopez brothers. They still have Wesley Matthews and, other guys coming off the bench that'll be solid role players. I like that team a lot better this year than I did last year.
2 of the more unsung and underrated players in the league get brought over to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I think they're a much, much, much better team. They didn't do enough. They got 2 guys that are underrated and unsung, and they'll help them win. That's not enough to keep Giannis there. And I feel like Giannis is one of the rare NBA superstars who's begging you to give him a reason to stay. Because most of them are just giving you excuses to leave, even though those excuses aren't even real. They just want to go. They want to go to LA. They want to go to Florida. They want to go somewhere else. He's begging them to want to stay. And that's why I think Chris Paul was the move. That Suns trade made no sense, not to jump ahead in topic. But I just thought that was the move. I thought you needed that guy, that type of pedigree. I thought that was the move. And you got 2 guys to make your team better. You didn't get 2 guys to help Giannis stay.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only way he stays is if you get a young elite talent, like I think a Devin Booker type talent to get Giannis to stay. Holiday is a great player. Does he move the needle enough compared to Malcolm Brogdon? I do not. I think Malcolm Brogdon is a little bit less than him, but you gave up 3 first-round picks.
They could have just signed.
You gave up the
Brogdon.
Red Rocket, Mike DiVincenzo. Bogdanovic is good. I wish they got Buddy Hield. That would have moved the needle. Buddy Hield, Giannis going to the hoop, throw it to Buddy Hield. That's going in every freaking time. I don't know.
Think Bogdanovic can be like a Buddy Hield light, I guess? I mean, I feel like that they're not that far off.
He's a good player. I don't know. I think Buddy Hield's better for this system, though. He gets the ball, how quick Buddy Hield gets the ball out of his hands, like Klay Thompson-esque. Catches it, shoots it. Catches it, shoots it. Bogdanovic is a good player. I forever think he'll be a great 6-man. I don't know if he'll ever be like an all-star or someone that's going to keep Giannis from going to Miami.
Listen, he's going to be very good in this system. This is a system that 30-year-old Kyle Korver was good in when he was in that Hawks team. Like, this is a system that Bogdanovic is going to do well in. He's going to do fine.
But we're talking about Giannis staying.
Giannis is gone. This didn't keep him there.
So you traded everything for that then.
You got to applaud Milwaukee, though, in some sense, though. I mean, I'm always the type, you got to put your chips on the table. And, I mean, they at least did what they could. So many times we've sat here over the years for the Celtics, at least, and been like, they should have made a move to put it over the top. And it's like, at least they're coming to the table and doing something. I applaud them for doing that. And, as far as giving up 3 first-round picks, yeah, it's a lot. But brings in Jrue Holiday and really makes that starting 5 a lot better, I feel. They've got a lot more talent in it, I would say, now. And obviously, it would have been nice to keep Brogdon, but
instead of Bledsoe.
They ended up doing that. So
the problem is that the 2 superstars that are on the market, really the one guy that I think would be a perfect fit with a Giannis is James Harden, and they hate each other's guts. They absolutely hate each other's guts.
They wouldn't have done on the same team. But Middleton and Holiday, are they number 2s or number 3s?
Probably closer to 3s.
Actually, they're both 3s.
Yeah,
both
exactly.
3s.
That doesn't
Holiday maybe
move
a 4.
the needle enough. I mean, I think Middleton's a bit underrated. He's a great shooter, but I mean, in the playoffs, what has he actually done? Holiday's never really gotten that chance. I love Holiday as a player. One of the best 2-way players in the NBA, hands down.
I think Giannis and Harden would make beautiful basketball music together, but it's just something we're not going to see happen.
That's why the Warriors thing was such a. Everyone's talking about that. You get Giannis going to the hoop, and you got Curry to the outside. You got Thompson on the outside. Like,
I would have loved to see
you
it.
need
that
shooters
would have
everywhere.
been that would have been lethal.
Yep.
That would have been lethal. Another move that happened, obviously, is the Chris Paul trade, and that's one that I really don't get. I feel like Chris Paul is older, going to a young team that won 8 games in the bubble last year, and I don't know, guys. That one, I don't really see it for the Suns. I mean, why are they trying to get older? Why are they trying to get a selfish star like Chris Paul? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I don't like it. And I love Chris Paul. I think he was a wonderful get you over the hump type piece for 3 or 4 teams in the league. The Suns weren't one of those teams. And for them to play as well as they did in the bubble for their coach with all that chemistry and to uproot that for Chris Paul is horrible to me. Chris Paul's a great winner, but he's a guy who wears on his teammates, wears on organizations. You bring that to a young and excitable group of guys. I didn't get it. I didn't get the fit. I understand wanting to have a guy that can teach your roster, but he wasn't the one for that team.
Talk about hating a move, man. I hate this move. I hate it. I can't believe that. I mean, I can. I just don't understand it. Chris Paul is, 36 years old? How many years does he have left? You just traded away your young core you won 8 straight games with in the bubble for a guy that's 36 years old. Yes, he's going to help you advance into the playoffs. He's not going to help you win a championship. It's not happening.
Like, Rubio actually was pretty good. I'm not saying Rubio is Chris Paul because that's not what I'm saying, but he's actually good in the system. What the Suns need is a wing player or a power forward, not a 34-year-old point guard to come in. Like, Kelly Oubre was a good player, and he was coming up. He's like 24, 25. He's gone. I mean, Rubio was decent, and didn't they trade a first-round pick too? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. There's no need to, like, Booker's not going anywhere. He already signed his contract. Ayton's still got 2 or 3 more years left before he needs to sign.
This is the year that Chris Paul has fallen off, too. I mean, I feel like all signs look like that. He kind of had a resurgent season last year with Oklahoma City, but, and did everything that people didn't think he'd be able to do, but I don't see it. I don't see why you're getting a guy like this. He's not really going to help you win games, and he's the type of guy you're trying to get rid of on a team like the Suns, I feel like. You're trying to keep that young core, trying to create some guys that can be with Ayton and the other kid there. But
Booker.
Who would have thought Chris Paul a couple years ago, perennial first All-NBA in the Clippers, he would have gone from the Rockets to the Thunder to the Suns in a span of 3 years.
Can we all right, hold on. All right, I didn't want to take this stance. Let's throw some respect on Chris Paul's name because in that same sentence, hold on.
No. No one's saying he's.
But he was 3-1 up on the Warriors before he got injured in Houston. Yep. Then he left because he thought Harden didn't work hard enough. He goes to a team of young guys and they wildly overperform. In the second half of the season, they tear it up. They have a reasonable showing in the playoffs. He goes to another team. Yes, he's been on 3 different teams, but he's made each and every one of those teams unequivocally better.
What's more surprising?
He didn't make the Clippers better.
That's not true either.
Yeah, he was great for the Clippers.
He absolutely made them better.
That team could never win, though.
Sure, but that's not the argument.
He
won 50. He won 50 games a year. He absolutely won games for them.
What's more surprising, Chris Paul's career, like since the Clippers, or Carmelo just being like shunned from the NBA, essentially over the past 4 years?
Carmelo's not a winner, and Chris Paul is. I know Chris Paul can't get over the hump, but he wins games. He'll lead you to 50 games. He can sum of its parts as a basketball player. Carmelo Anthony is selfish.
The problem is Chris Paul. He'd be great on the Clippers now or the Lakers, but he makes $40 million a year.
That's ridiculous.
Like, he'd be great to have all these superstars around him and just dish the ball up, but he's getting paid $40 million. He's 34. That's ridiculous.
Ayton's nice. He's not there yet.
No,
Booker's probably getting to his prime. I'd say.
I think he's already in his prime. I think he's a top 15.
It's about 6 years. 6 years for even studs. It's about 6 years, unless you're LeBron, before you're in your prime.
Yeah.
I'd say you could say he's in his prime, but sure. Point taken. Go on.
He's 23. He's got such a ceiling. And also, I think where the Suns are coming from,
Right.
if Booker takes the next step, Chris Paul has a lot to do with that. And if this is the year that he does fall off, then hopefully that will humble him because he's a smart enough basketball player and basketball mind. And I'm sure there's a bunch he could teach Booker if they're both of that mindset.
Who would you rather have, Rondo for like $9 million or Chris Paul for $40 million? on that Suns team?
Rondo.
I would rather have Rondo.
I'd
Yeah,
rather have
I'm-
Chris Paul
For $40 million?
over Rondo. It does
Well,
the
you
money.
could
I'd rather
actually
just signed Rondo
You could get
outright.
other players. What I'm saying, you don't need, like Chris Paul's the highest paid player on that team, and he's probably going to be the third best player, maybe fourth.
He'll lead to more wins than either of those players.
Rondo in the
then which
playoffs
players?
has been money. What are you talking
Which
about?
players?
He'll lead to more wins than either Ayton or Booker.
Booker carried
No
that team
way.
in the
Booker's
bubble.
He just
Like,
carried a team
Booker's
with Shea
def-
Gilgeous-Alexander, who's good, but he just carried a team with that as the second best player.
Hey,
so
they
now he's
had
the
Lou
third
Dort.
best player.
They had Lou Dort.
Sure,
Okay,
but now he's the third best player on his team, and he's not going to be more valuable to that team.
Chris Paul was the third best player in the Thunder last year.
he was
Alexander,
the most valuable, though. He was the most.
okay. I think Gallinari was a better player than Chris Paul
I
was on that
can't help
team.
you with that. That's a you issue. I
No,
can't
that's
help
not.
you with that.
Alexander was definitely their best player.
They're most.
Dennis Schroeder, honestly, at points was better than Chris Paul.
You could say Dennis Schroeder. I mean, Dennis Schroeder had a great year last year.
I don't like Dennis Schroeder at all. I hate Dennis Schroeder. I'm just saying, Chris Paul, he made a difference. No one would have thought when he went to the Thunder, he actually would have stayed there and took that team to the playoffs.
Chris
But
Paul doesn't have more
he
impact on
didn't
a game
carry
than
them
Devin
to the
Booker
playoffs.
does right now. Right now,
Yes. You have to learn how to win in this league. This is a question we still have about Jason Tatum, is can he win? We know Chris Paul has game-winning shots in the playoffs. He's come up short. But he has more game-winning experience in the playoffs than anybody on that Suns roster combined.
Jason Tatum's gone farther than Chris Paul.
De-
Like,
Devin-
Al
Devin
Horford
career.
had all the playoff experience in the world when he went to the 76ers last year. What did that do? for
Al
him? Like,
Horford didn't have playoff. He had playoff experience where he didn't show up. Chris Paul has showed up several times. His teams have come up short. He has showed up. And that coach went on with a different cast of players to also be disappointing. So maybe that wasn't a Chris Paul thing.
I wouldn't classify Chris Paul as a winner. I just would
Also,
not
did
say.
Tatum go farther? Paul went to
mean-
the Western Conference Finals with David West as the second best player. So who went farther? and who
David
was
West
better?
was an all-star back in the day.
He was.
But he wasn't
was
better
an
than
all-star.
he wasn't better than call it Kyrie or maybe even Rozier on that Celtics team. Jason Tatum had the better supporting cast than Chris
David
Paul.
West is better than
You
Terry
just
Rozier.
compared David West to Terry Rozier.
David
Come
West
on.
is trash
No,
and always
stop
has
talking.
been trash.
David West is trash.
Always been trash.
He was a 20 and 11 guy.
We have
Get out of my
three
face.
guys on that roster.
Don't
that would have
forget-
been better
don't
than
forget,
David
they
West.
had-
We would kill for
they
a David
had
West.
Peja
on the
We would
Stojakovic.
love to have David West right
Peja
now.
Stojakovic back then was a pretty damn good player.
This is ludicrous, but okay.
He's Peja Stojakovic is better than Rozier, Marcus Morris, any of the players that
Not at the time that he was in the Hornets, but I agree with you. Overall, sure, but not at the time that he was playing with Chris Paul.
Hey, I like Chris Paul. I like the way he just need that guy in the nuts at Wake Forest. He's just a go-getter, you know?
Habitual line stepper, but that guy.
I'm not blaming him
he's
for not getting in the
balls and he
finals.
wins.
I blame Doc Rivers for not getting in
Thank
the
you.
finals. Doc
He's
Rivers is one
balls
of
and he
the
wins.
worst coaches in the NBA, and he gets so much credit for doing absolutely nothing.
Oh, but he's like 10th all time in wins, man.
Yeah, wait till he goes to the
Isn't Don
76ers.
Nelson? Didn't he pass Don Nelson, another perennial loser, the Marty Schottenheimer of the NBA? He's got 1,000 wins, and just none of them mean anything.
Yeah, Doc Rivers is terrible. I cannot stand Doc Rivers. He's done nothing.
He only won one championship with this Celtics team, and I feel like that is just the biggest. I mean, you should have won at least
Also,
two
too,
or
like,
three
you-
championships with
I
them.
respect coaches more that can do more with less. Like Brad Stevens could, like, obviously we want him to be like the great coach with the elite talent, but Doc Rivers could never carry. Before the big three got here, we were a terrible basketball team. No one played team ball. It was all ISO basketball. Paul Pierce, which understandable, but Doc Rivers has been one of the most overrated coaches of all time.
You know, like that Orion Green team? Rafe LaFrentz doesn't do it for you.
Delonte West, give me J.R. Brimmer, baby.
Justin loves guys like Rafe LaFrentz. I
Rafe
could see him
LaFrentz?
using Rafe LaFrentz to light someone up for like 50 and
Oh, baby.
2K.
Give me a big, tall white guy that can hit threes in the corner. Give me Jerebko back any day.
Jesus.
He actually was pretty good
I-
in 2K. But
In a video game, Drebko was great. In real life, why can't you catch? You would be a great catch and shoot player if you could catch. Why can't you catch? He had no hands. Drebko was, for a skilled basketball player, he had no skills.
I wouldn't necessarily say skilled. He just tried hard.
No, he could shoot and dribble is what they told us. He just couldn't catch or handle well enough for us to see that.
So, guys, if you've been listening to the news, it seems like Hayward kind of feels like the Celtics have like turned their back on him. Do you think that he's going to get moved before the deadline? It seems like all indications are that he's probably going to do some moving in the next 24 hours or so.
Hayward's out. It's been a good ride. He's given us everything he has, man. I don't know if we've seen a player have worst injury luck over a 3-year span in the NBA. I mean, Derrick Rose maybe. Probably Derrick Rose over Hayward, but Hayward's right there, man. And he gave his all every step of the way. I thought he looked great this year when he was healthy, but the timing of his injuries, it's tough to get over it. A lot of Celtics fans out there, the more spoiled ones, have bitched and complained a lot about him. I'm going to be sad to see him go, but I think that Danny will probably get a pretty good return for him, and I wish him well in his next venture.
So my biggest problem with Hayward, I mean, I like Hayward. Good basketball players, good at everything, kind of like Horford, good at everything, not great at anything. Is Horford and Hayward are two big guys that we signed. None of them had that like killer instinct to just take games over. Like the whole time we watched Hayward, it's like, come on, man, go to the hoop, get that basket.
Right.
No, dish it out. Same thing with Horford, dish it out. God, Danny, sign the guy that could have had Jimmy Butler instead of Hayward. Think about that.
So that being said, do you want him to push for Harden?
I would take Harden. I don't like Harden basketball, but Christ, what we're going to have to give up, Kemba, who's going to be hurt probably the rest of his career, and Hayward that's going to be gone, sounds like a win-win to me.
Yeah, sounds like a win-win to me too. I'll take Harden on this team all day.
And
Let him run the point.
I'll pay money to watch Smart and Harden go at it in the locker room boxing match.
Does getting rid of guys like Hayward, though, and guys like Kemba, does that look bad though for teams out on the market? If you're like a player thinking I could go to the Celtics and they're going to chew me up and spit me out in a year if I get any type of injury, do you think that hurts them at all if they make a move like that?
Not really. I mean, a lot of stigma we have as Boston Celtics organization isn't good anyway, so I think this would honestly be better. Even though that would look good, I feel it's better than a lot of the PR we have with players in the league. But also, we're constantly trying to win. I think that's the only thing players care about is like weather, endorsements, and how much the organization actually tries to win. It's the only three things that modern athletes really consider. And if we can provide one of them, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll look past it. I think the days of us selling players on the Celtics dynasty is dead. But
I agree.
But we can sell them on, hey, look, Wick wants to win and Danny wants to win and we'll build around you. We should be trying to build it like the Miami Heat. And I wish we would. And I think bringing Harden in here at least gives us a chance to do that because I think I'm beginning to think Tatum is gone unless we bring somebody in here that lets him know we're serious.
Well, a guy who hides Kyrie Irving in such high regard, you never know what he's going to do. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things when he hits free agency, what he's going to end up doing. But, yeah, I think Harden would go a long way to keeping him here for another 5 years.
The only problem is I think kind of Tatum with Kyrie, like it kind of has that same effect where Harden's just shooting like 30 times a game. I don't want to see Tatum going back to doing all these fadeaway shots. Tatum's at his best when he's aggressive going to the hoop. Because when he's doing that, he's literally unstoppable. Because that's when he gets more confident. He's hitting his fadeaway, like his 18-footers. But I do not want to see any more of those step-back stupid threes that he was doing in the playoffs too. Go to the hoop. Get a foul. You are supposed to be a superstar. Get 10 free throws a game. That's what Harden does.
He is a superstar. He's just a young superstar who's still trying to find his way. I mean, we can't all just walk into the league with nuts like Tyler Herro and just let him drag all over the entire NBA pretty much. Tatum's growing. We're seeing growth year over year. I expect him to take another leap this next year. And I think that leap's going to be his playoff leap. So I'm excited to see what's to come from Tatum as the 1A guy. And I'm also excited to see what's to come from Jaylen Brown as the 1B guy. I think that he has a lot more room to grow, and I expect him to have a very good season alongside Jason Tatum.
I mean, if we had a big last year in the playoffs, don't you think this team probably would have went to the finals?
Yes.
No, I think we have a fundamental problem.
I think a big would have done a lot.
I mean, we had.
I think we're in the playoffs with a big.
If we had Aaron, I'm not saying Aaron Baines would have took us there, but a guy like that just plays defense, knows his role.
Like a Miles Turner, is that who you're referring to?
Miles Turner would be nice, but like a Clint Capella would be nice too. A guy just sits in the paint, just does alley oops. That's all we need is a guy to block shots.
I mean, that's pretty much Robert Williams, except for Clint Capella would know, who he's actually guarding.
Yeah, exactly.
on
Robert
defense.
Williams.
Yeah.
I think he's like smoking some pop before the game. Sometimes he's got no idea who's even guarding. He's got all the athletic ability in the world, and
His potential's crazy.
He doesn't understand defense.
Yeah, that's why I think he has got good trade value right now. Trade him. I don't know how.
What could you get for him right now?
Well, if you package him in a deal for some of these picks with Robert Williams, I think you get at least move up in the draft.
I'll tell you what I would do. I'd try to get Karl Anthony Towns for Hayward. I'd give him all of our draft picks for this year and the next 2 years. I'd probably throw in Romeo Langford, Robert Williams, and really any of the other bench players that they want, and then I just go for it.
All right, if you're doing
So like
that,
what Milwaukee did basically, throw them everything.
Yeah, I mean,
Just get what you
the
can.
Timberwolves have the first overall pick in the draft, right? So if you're going to build around Anthony Edwards and you take all these picks and you draft a bunch of young guys, you can build this up together. I think Towns. I don't know if Towns is down for this young player coming in and handing the franchise over to him.
if you're making that trade, all right, then I'm going to trade Langford, Karsten Edwards, Robert Williams. Let's trade him for Doncic.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm glad that you made that point.
Karl-Anthony Towns is the Timberwolves. Like, I don't
He's
care who
not
comes
going
in.
for. You said
They could lose him for nothing, couldn't they?
Yes,
signed
but
a
you said
contract.
throw in
Contract,
Tremaine
though?
Waters.
He got paid a massive contract.
That's besides the point. You said throw in Tremaine Waters. If you're going to give up the cornerstone of your franchise, nobody that you're planning on throwing in is going to move the
All right,
needle.
you know what we
I
should
mean,
do? We
I
should
was
trade
saying,
Taco
like,
Fall.
Grant
Trade
Williams
Taco
and
Fall
guys
and let's
like
get the
that,
number
No,
one pick.
no, I understand that, but look at what Milwaukee did. We just praised them. Even if it doesn't work, even if Giannis walks, we praised them for building around him and trying to make him stay. You think that Minnesota is sitting with the number one pick and Karl-Anthony Towns, and they think, let's keep this rebuild going for another 8 years? You don't think they're thinking LaMelo or Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns can't bring them 40 wins?
I can dream, can't I?
Sure, but that wasn't realistic. That wasn't at all something that we could put
it
on the
happened
table.
with Kevin Garnett, didn't it?
Yeah, Kevin McHale's not walking through that door to help Danny Ainge.
No,
but
where's Kevin McHale at?
Seriously, we need
Someone
him.
get Kevin
TNT?
McHale another
He
GM
works with
job.
TNT, I think.
Someone hire Kevin McHale right now. We need it.
Kevin McHale still gets Christmas cards every year from Danny Ainge.
I'm
Probably
sure
gives
he
him a new
does.
car every year.
Isn't the Rockets GM spot open again?
Oh God, get over there, Kevin.
Didn't Daryl
please.
Morey get out of there?
He's out of there. Oh God, no. I mean, I would love to see us make a big package like that though for
Just-
someone. And it looks like the only guys that are available are James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I don't even know if I want Russ. Does Russ make us a better player than if we had Kemba?
I just feel
Probably.
I feel like right now this is typical Celtics fans. Every trade deadline, like, what are the best players out? And then we do nothing. Like, I have zero hopes that we're going to do anything. We're going to draft all three players. We're going to draft some kid from Israel, like some European basketball league.
Ethan Gilbert says Rudy. What do we think about a Gobert trade with the Celtics? That's
I
a lot
mean-
more attainable, is it not?
I would
that would be
love to
lovely.
get Gobert, but I don't think they're doing that deal.
You don't think that they would do Gordon Hayward,
No.
all of our first round
No.
picks, Robert Williams?
Nope.
You don't think so?
I don't think it works like that in most cases where you can just ball up a bunch of trash and get a guy like
It's
Gobert.
it's not trash.
Hey,
We're talking about an all-star in Quinn Snyder's system.
all-star that they let walk out the door.
A young Rudy Gobert in the making in Robert Williams III.
Dude, if you could
And
just give up
3
2 years
first-
of picks.
And three
to
first
get
round
anyone.
draft picks.
I think
Come on.
you've been playing a little bit too much 2K.
Yeah, what
these
is-
No,
trades
he's been sitting on the trade simulator today.
Holy shit!
Hey,
Wow.
who says no to that one?
Can I
Come
bring
on.
this up? A Harden to the Sixers makes them better than a Harden to the Nets makes them.
I agree.
I think that's absolutely what that team needs.
Get Ben Simmons and Joel
If they,
Embiid do never
they
work.
keep Embiid and
Yes.
Simmons and
No,
get
no,
rid
no.
of Harden.
Simmons is gone.
Simmons got a GTFO.
Get him out.
But
yeah.
But if you trade him to the Rockets, you have to trade Westbrook. Imagine those two in the backcourt.
Trade Ben Simmons to Tanzania. If you're the Sixers, he's got to go. And you don't know. And unfortunately, even with all the talent, you don't know what you have in Embiid. Go get him an elite, top-notch talent so you know if it's him or not. You know what I mean? You don't know what the very.
Well, how many years are you going to spend figuring out if it's Embiid? I mean, at
2.
some point he's
2.
getting old. I mean,
Embiid
he's still young. I'm just saying you've already spent 6 years trying to figure out if he's good or not.
He's been
Embiid-
healthy for 3 of them.
I would really love to get Ben Simmons on the Celtics with the 2 J's.
Oh God, no!
I do
No,
too.
I don't
What
want
if it's
Simmons.
Put him at
Marcus
center.
Smart?
I don't
Put
want
him at
Simmons. I've
center.
had enough guys that can't
Do you want
shoot.
Simmons and Smart?
Yes.
Okay, no, thank you.
Yes, I
if we
do.
could get Simmons on the
Oh, my
team
God.
and not have Smart, sure. Sure.
The Joel Embiid, like, he's never really got to where he need to be. Joel Embiid was at his best when Jimmy Butler was there to push him. Like, you
Yep.
need someone to come in and
Yep.
be like, dude, you can't be eating grapes on the sideline before the game. Is like acting like basketball doesn't matter. You bring Horford in that's just like la-di-da, doesn't push anybody. Ben Simmons is more involved with who's dating, one of the Jenners he's dating. You need a guy to come in and push him. And he doesn't have it. And Harden maybe does it, but I don't know. I don't think Joel Embiid will never seek his potential, what he has. He could be a top 5 player every year.
Even if he doesn't hit his potential, though, he could still be a guy that like scores like 30 and grabs 50. I mean, he's so athletic at the center position, it's ridiculous.
And yet he's fat. He's like
I mean,
athletic but
he
fat
clearly
still.
did not have the conditioning to play in
Right.
those games in the postseason, and he was like 30 and 15 or like 32 and 15. It's like,
Remember how fat Jokic was before the bubble? He lost like 30 pounds, and he looked unreal. If Embiid can't lose weight, Jokic did. I mean, he probably went back to his country where he's just eating bread and
Embiid
water
got
every
to
day.
the bubble and got big. Like, Embiid doesn't get it, and you hope that at some point he's going to. And, I mean, can Doc get him to? That's probably why they brought him there. I do think at this point, Harden is one of the few players, well, not one of the few, one of the players who had one of the more dramatic physique changes in quarantine. He came back super, super skinny. It didn't really help him in the playoffs, but he came back in shape for sure, and I think he's at that maturity age. And you said earlier he's the most mature of the three in Brooklyn. He's by far the most mature in Philly as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, and Tobias Harris is a great number 3. He's not a number 2.
He's a 4 or a 6th man.
Yeah, but
he's not a 3
Harris
on a
is
championship
consistent.
team.
on a championship team.
He's
on
not.
A,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
he's
on
still
this
good.
team,
He's still good. He's a 3 for that 76ers
are
team.
screwed unless they trade Ben Simmons. They are locked into all these
Agreed.
contracts. Like, this is the time you have to make a move. Harden is the only way to make this work. If they bring Westbrook in, there's no change. It's the same thing.
Well, isn't there already a trade that's been agreed on that's going to send Harden to the Nets?
Yeah, I think the Harden going anywhere besides the Nets talk is over. Because the crazy thing is the Nets probably have, I think, maybe the most to offer. I mean, you've got Spencer Dinwiddie, you've got Karis LeVert, you've got Jared Allen, you've got Tayshaun Prince. I mean, you've got some pretty solid.
Torian
Prince. Excuse me. Sorry, Tayshaun.
Tayshaun's much better.
Yes, he is, but he's also retired.
This-
That's a pretty good package, especially if you throw in like 3 years of draft picks. I mean, at that point, I think the Celtics could beat that offer. I just don't know that they want to.
The trade's going to get vetoed. The Nets owner is a Trump supporter, so Harden can't go there.
Oh, is he really?
Yep. He has to come to the Celtics.
Is he really?
Wick?
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me. Who's Wick support? Has he publicly endorsed?
If you're
anyone?
James Harden, which strip clubs are better, Philly or Boston?
He's gonna if Harden comes
I'm
here.
sure
he's gonna
Philly.
Have a tough time with
I've
the
never
nightlife.
been, but I'm sure Philly.
I'm sure Philly. We have some rough strip clubs up here.
We also have rough nightlife. He's gonna have a hard time
Not
if he
that I've
comes
been
here.
to one. Right.
He's gonna have a hard time if he comes
He'd be
here.
just be down in Providence throwing ones.
Oh, he would
Where
be
did Ricky
ripping it
Davis-
up.
Oh, you
in
know what?
Providence.
There it is, right there. He'd be in Providence after the games. He'd be in Providence too. Like
He'd be more of
every
a legend
time.
than Mo Vaughn in Providence.
he'd probably drive there still wearing his uniform.
I would.
Hey, we
Williams
got
does.
guys, we got Encore. James can go there after games, bet all his money, lose it all.
Yeah, there is a casino here now.
It's gonna get closed pretty soon, but hell, we got it right now.
So, are the Celtics actually going to do anything? Do you think Hayward will be on this team 24 hours from now?
What do you think, Billy?
I think that they're not going to do anything, honestly. If you have to like put your hat on it, I feel like we've seen them sit pat so many times. I could just see them opting in and them doing nothing. I feel like you don't know what type of value. Like you've talked about the 6th pick or whatever that they could get from Atlanta or so. I don't think they're going to get that. I mean, I just don't. I don't see a big market for him, and I feel like we've heard about this Miles Turner trade for about 10 days now, and nothing's happened. So I'm wondering why it's not happening.
Would you be disappointed if we didn't get rid of Hayward?
I would be.
Yeah.
I think they've got. This is the point to get rid of him, and even if it's for pennies on the dollar, I would do it.
We don't have a choice. Like, you either keep him and we're the same team as last year, or you trade him.
You know what the problem is?
But the Celtics have gone with the same look so many straight years. It just feels like at this point, if they did anything, it would almost be a shock to me. I feel.
I want to keep him if we have to.
Another guy that could get traded is Cantor.
I don't want to move him on pennies on the dollar. Cantor.
Cantor's not worth
Okay,
coming
guys,
back.
Cantor's getting paid $5 million a year. That's a value contract in the NBA.
Yeah,
I'm not
was
saying he's
210,
great.
Wasn't it?
His contract's up, isn't it?
No, it
No.
was 210.
Oh, is it 210?
Yeah.
It
Marcus
was.
Smart's on a value contract too. We should trade him.
Yeah, he's overpaid. I've said
Oh
this forever.
God.
Smart and Hayward for James Harden. Why not?
I mean, that sounds throwing
Smart.
Langford.
Would
too.
you trade Smart, Hayward, and Kemba
Yes.
Yes,
for James Harden? Yeah.
absolutely.
With all of our draft picks this year for James Harden, would you do it?
Wait, Smart, Hayward, and Kemba.
Smart, Hayward, and Kemba
No.
with our 3 draft picks
I think
this year.
I think we could trade Smart in a separate deal to get somebody else. I think that's a little bit too much.
You know
for
what's
draft picks.
unfortunate? Gordon Hayward could be exactly what we needed. Like when we signed him, he was
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
what we needed. Every time we have looked like a well-oiled machine with Gordon Hayward, he's gotten injured like immediately. It's really quite tragic because I'm not sure that he could be that player now, but when he got here, he was an elite NBA player. He was top 15, top 20. He filled in a lot of gaps that we didn't have. He was an elite three-point shooter, and he just, every time we played our best with him, was right before he got injured.
He would have been the perfect player here. I mean, he was like they were running the offense through him before he got hurt that year too. So that actually, they had to make a lot of adjustments on the fly. And I mean, he was a guy that got Kyrie Irving excited to play here too, you know? So you wonder if he had never gotten hurt, what could have happened with Kyrie? I mean, it's all a big what if, but you're totally right. It seems like every time he'd get back and play somewhat consistent ball, he'd be hurt right there and then. So, you know, it really sucks because, I mean, it feels like he's a great guy and he does everything he can in terms of trying the best he can to get out on the court. But he just, you know, he's faced too many unfortunate injuries and he costs too much money.
That second thing is really it, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, he got hurt. And also, too, like Jaylen Brown and Tatum, like, kind of took over. Like, he came back to a team that it just wasn't a fit at that point. When he first got here, it was like a great fit. Like, remember when him and Kyrie and what is it, spring training? No, what do they call the NBA, preseason? Like, they were practicing together. Summer League, yeah. Like, Hayward's carrying the ball up instead of Irving. They're doing the pick roll plays. Like, it was going to work, and then that happened. And he came back to a team that already, like, grew together, and he was kind of the odd man out. It's unfortunate.
That first year in Utah, Hayward he took out the Clippers team when he was on the Jazz, and then they got swept by Golden State. I mean, he actually performed pretty damn well in that series against the Clippers back in 2017, the year before he broke his leg and came to the Celtics and everything, and all that went down. I mean, you just got to feel for the guy. You have to. And I mean, it just sucks knowing what we could have had if he didn't break his leg that first year. It sucks.
I won't feel for him if he gets another $30 million contract from the Hawks.
Fair.
He's living pretty nice.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that anybody could get their value at such an age until I saw Horford get that value. You know, I mean, I guess it might not be the worst thing for Hayward to go on the free agency market if a guy like Horford can still get over 100 mil.
Horford was a spite signing. The Sixers said, we got your guy that's stopping Joel Embiid. No
Dude,
way you beat us.
4 years, 100 mil, that goes over spite. I mean,
there was no other team offering that contract. Horford played the 76ers well.
There were like 7 teams that were offering him like over 100 mil.
I heard that
the Mavs were offering him a deal. There was a lot of teams. They said he was shocked at like the amount of interest he got.
I mean,
I feel like it wasn't just the 76ers.
He was nice with Boston, man. That system helped him dramatically, though. The Boston Celtics system was perfect for Horford.
He's like a big with leadership who could like hit threes. Like he kind of looked like the perfect player to sign, you know, if you've got a little bit extra money.
He's a nice guy, just like Hayward. I want a dog. Yeah. I'm sick of these nice guys. I want a guy that wants to, rip someone's heart out. I don't want a nice guy.
You want a Chris Paul?
Give me all of Australia. Give me Aaron Baines. That guy will rip your head off. It'll cost you $1 million.
Horford's intangibles are wildly overrated.
Oh, I know.
He's also for the record, I'm all for great leaders. They help. They're incredibly necessary in pro sports, but there's nut jobs everywhere. He doesn't bring that. When a locker room is spiraling out of control, he's not a voice of reason. He wasn't any year he was here, and he didn't help that Sixers team get any better either. His intangibles are wildly overrated. He's a great fit in every scheme. He's a good basketball player.
Hold that thought, Frankie. We got one live. Hi, you're on Open Season. Who do we got?
My name is Paul.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Good.
What's on your mind tonight?
Geez, I mean, with the NBA draft going on, I mean, a lot's going through my mind. I mean, I want to know do you guys think Anthony Edwards is a lock for number 1? Do you think he's a lock?
I don't think he's a lock personally. I think you're getting a lot of talk about LaMelo Ball being the number 1 pick also.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but like Minnesota has the number 1 pick, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know if they still have D'Lo, right?
I do, but I feel like he doesn't move the needle to a point where you wouldn't not take LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about. And, like, I mean, especially LaMelo with his size being 6'9". I mean, he is a lengthy point guard.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think he's going to be able.
They could use that big man presence, though. I mean, Cat is still, like, obviously one of the best centers in the league, but run Edwards at the 4. Oh man, that's when things could happen right there for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think is going to be the biggest steal of this year's draft?
Weissman, because I think he's going to go to Golden State. If Weissman ever actually plays for Golden State, he'll be the steal because he's exactly what they need, and they already have championship pedigree.
I like Killian Hayes, man. I like Killian Hayes. I think that he's going to be the next Jamal Murray type of guy.
I like.
I definitely, Jamal Murray type of guy right there for sure.
Odepku, what's his name? The guy in the USC, the
Onyeka.
I think honestly he's not as good as Weissman, but like there's not that big of a gap, and he's probably going to go 4 spots after him. And if he goes to the right place, I mean, he's going to be a good player. He's really athletic. He can shoot. He can do a lot of things.
Use the same comp you said earlier. I think it was a really good one.
What's that?
Bam.
When do you guys think the first pick is going to be announced? When do you guys think they're going to start? Because I don't have no cable, so I can't like watch. Yeah.
What time is it actually going to be announced? I'm not sure.
7:30, right?
7:30 or so.
Yeah.
Probably for the first pick.
I think this year's one of the only years there's not a definite number one. Past couple years always been indefinite. Now
I think it's LaMelo.
I think it's going to be LaMelo, but I mean, there's still a little bit there. Usually, a few days before, a team is going to declare like who they're going to take, and that hasn't happened so far. This one, so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys, man. This was a good conversation.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks for calling.
Have a good night.
All right.
All right, man.
Have a good one.
Have good success on your podcast, and I'm out of here.
All right. Appreciate you, Paul. All right. So, I mean, he's bringing a few things to the table. It does seem like it is exciting time for the Timberwolves, but what do you guys see LaMelo Ball being in the next level? I mean, I see him being pretty good, but I could also feel like that shot may not fall as well as it does right now at the next level.
It is weird because when you watch him play as an amateur, I guess technically as a pro, and his brother at UCLA, his shot looks so much better, and it's converted at such a higher clip, it just still doesn't look like a professional shot. It doesn't look like an NBA shot. I think he's 10, 11 assists a game easy, so I think he'll be a good pro for a long time.
Agreed. And I don't think anyone in this draft is going to be like a future Hall of Famer. I think we're going to have a couple, I think Ball could make a couple All-Star games. He's going to be a good player. Wiseman probably could be a good player. But there's no guy in this draft class that's going to be, the future of the NBA per se.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a deeper draft rather than
it's a terrible draft to have 3 first-round draft picks like the Celtics do.
Well, it feels like they always have useless picks. When's the last time they've had a pick worth anything?
Give us Yabusele back, the French, the croissant.
Yabusele, definitely missed. He was supposed to be the next Draymond Green.
Yeah,
Remember that comp?
Green.
Draymond Green with better offense, apparently.
Oh, God.
You got to love the comps that they make.
He's got the bow every time he hits a 3.
What was that, 3 bows?
Yeah, 3 bows. Kyrie paid him in donuts every time he hit one.
All right, well, let's flip the page a little bit to the NFL. It was a good weekend in the NFL as well with the Pats coming out on top of the Ravens in a game that a lot of people did not have the Patriots in that one. That was I forget who the analysts were that had them actually, but there was like 1 or 2 that had them, but it was pretty much no one. Do you guys think the Pats have a chance to make the playoffs at 4-5?
Yes, I wish they didn't, but I think they do. I would much rather us tank, get a high draft pick, call it a year, and then take, whether it's Trey Lance or Justin or Trevor. I don't think we're not going to get Trevor, of course, but like if we get Justin Fields or Trey Lance, I'd call this year a success. That's not happening now. Bill just doesn't have it in his system to not go for it all.
I think everyone needs to cool Jets a little bit. We barely beat the Jets 2 weeks ago, and we beat the Ravens in a monsoon. It was great. We played decent ball, but I mean, we had to have Jacoby Myers throw a touchdown. The defense looked better, but also we played in a monsoon, and whenever you're up on the Ravens, it's the best way to beat the Ravens, especially when Lamar's throwing a monsoon. I still think they're going to be – I think the Dolphins are better. I think the Bills are better. I think it's going to be very tough. I think we lose both games, the Bills and the Dolphins.
There's an extra playoff team in each conference this year, and that's specifically so that the Bucs and the Patriots can make the playoffs. And both teams will. And it's likely that both teams are around there at 6 and 7 seed. We're going to make the playoffs. And
the Bucs are going to be a 6 or 7 seed?
That's not the topic right now, but yes. But it's not the topic right now. Listen, the Patriots
7 and 3.
Listen,
Go ahead.
Thank you. Not only are we going to be good, the offensive line, I've said it every time I've gotten this microphone in front of me. When they play, we're almost guaranteed to win, which is very nice to see. When we control the line of scrimmage, we're going to win. And I think Cam has turned it around. I think COVID's the only thing that really derailed his season. Maybe, not having the right hat for a post-game celebration. I think not only are we going to make the playoffs, we're going to win probably still 9 games. And I think we're running it back with Cam one more season. Electric Boogaloo season 2.
I think the only good thing to come out of this season is Damian Harris, for our future.
Stud.
He is going to be. He looks. Oh my God! Watching him compared to Sony Michel. God, I thought Lawrence Maroney was bad. Sony Michel sucks. Damian Harris has an extra boost to him. Sony Michel's running through the same line that Damian Harris was. There's no difference. He actually just finds the holes and runs it aggressively, where Sony Michel is just, oh, God, we could have had Nick Chubb.
Yeah, it is nice to have someone who hits the hole, and Nick Chubb did come back without any hiccups at all. For a few weeks off, and he runs to 125 yards and a touch. It seems like, I feel like that guy's going for 5.5 yards a carry, too.
He's so explosive.
It's tough every week not to feel some type of way. He ran out of bounds for one of the touchdowns, too. He could have had 2 touchdowns.
I'll say one more thing, too, about the Pats. Jacoby Myers has jumped over N'Keal Harry.
He's our best wide receiver.
How pathetic
He might be our
is
best
that?
quarterback.
Yeah. Honestly.
He's got the best form, but he's no Cam Newton.
He's thrown for a third of the touchdowns that Cam had. It's just... I think it's unbelievable that Cam has thrown for 3. Does anybody else find this just amazing that Cam has thrown only 3 touchdowns so far?
Well, he missed a wide open one to Myers this past weekend, didn't he?
He also has 8 and 9 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you add his rushing touchdowns to his career total, his career quarterback average goes up about 8 points. And if you do that right now with his rushing touchdowns, about the same thing.
Okay, but I wasn't. I'm just saying. Sure, he has ran in a lot of touchdowns too, but I just find it amazing that
it's not like he's some short little quarterback. He should be able to throw the ball.
This team is running
guys.
back first. We have 3 running backs.
3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns.
He has 11
That's
total
all.
Over how many
touchdowns
games?
over the year,
9
doesn't he?
games? No, wait, how many games has he played? 7 games now?
7 or 8. I feel.
7 or 8 games. Not great.
No, no one's saying that Cam Newton looks good, but this is what this team is. It is what it is. It's so boring and it's just
Vanilla.
awful to watch. Watching the Bears last night, I was like, wow, this actually looks worse than watching the Pats, but they suck.
Justin, it's a double team at the point of attack, and then we're going to pull our guard around, and then we're going to have one of our tight ends that we just drafted who's so good, you should see him, but we're not going to target him, but he is going to be a pulling guard on a sweep play.
At least we got one.
Devin Asiasi hasn't had 1 target on the year. That's an amazing stat. It's how do you not accidentally throw to him?
Well, he hasn't even suited up.
He's played 81 snaps, I think. They had some stat the other day. Hasn't been targeted once.
Also, I can't remember if it's him or Keene, but one of them has taken 2 snaps out of the backfield, and none of them can get a target anyway. It's stunning.
You know who I do like? Our fullback. What was the guy? What's his name? He's from Germany.
Yeah, Jakob something.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
We
there's
need
nothing.
a meathead. For the record, when Sony Michel was good, when we were thinking about this was a great draft pick and running to a Super Bowl, we had Devlin be an unsung
We were
hero for
supposed to
that
have the
playoff
Packers
run.
fullback this year too, but he's out for COVID. He was supposed to be a good fullback.
Yeah.
I'm trying really hard to pick out good things about this Pats season. It's very, very difficult. Winovich's hair looks good. I don't know. This team is just terrible.
Did Winovich pay you for that endorsement?
Yeah, I was just gonna
I
say.
feel like he is just that guy is the only guy that's him and Baker Mayfield are the 2 worst guys that are in the most amount of things, right? 2 mediocre players, but they're mentioned in every endorsement.
Well, these Baker makes every snap at quarterback. Chase Winovich plays 7 snaps.
Hey, he played 98% the other night. They found some. Maybe they
Are
found
you
something.
talking about the commercial where he says,
the
I'm Baker
guy with the
Mayfield.
golden blocks.
I'm not in Baker Mayfield's body. I'm Saquon Barkley.
That commercial's hilarious. Don't disrespect. That commercial's hilarious.
That
But
guy's
Baker Mayfield's in 24 commercials. He's in more commercials than he has NFL wins. And for the record, no matter how long he plays, I'm convinced that'll be the case. If he never makes another commercial again.
I think if Baker Mayfield goes to another team, he could be decent, not great.
Case Keenum?
Sam Darnold goes to another team, he'll be good. It's just that, Brad, oh, God. Mayfield has everything. Receivers, running backs, a good offensive line, tight ends. He just has no confidence. Where's the guy that was, flashing his nuts to Kansas in college? Where's the guy that in his first rookie year was just, there's no confidence.
I like that guy.
I love that guy.
His rookie year was absolute balls, touchdown, interception.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He looked so. He hikes the ball. I haven't seen him make a calm 5-step drop in 2 years. If it's not a 3-step drop, he's going to start running before his back foot even gets in the ground. He's just not confident. Part of that's they've David Carred him. Part of that's PTSD, but the other part of it is he's undersized and he no longer has the confidence to go out there and sling it.
He's busy.
I just don't think he's great at like anything.
No.
He's not like superbly accurate. He's not very big. He's not very fat. Like
We're told between the ears. We're told.
Yeah, we're
Exactly.
totally supposed to be really accurate. He's not.
And I just feel like you got to be great at.
He's
something.
not good at reading the field. Like that's
Yeah,
Josh
he
Allen.
misses
You can see why he was a walk-on. At this point, he doesn't
Twice.
have anything that jumps off the page at you.
Yeah, but I want a guy that's a walk-on that had to fight for things rather than like a Josh Rosen that was just handed things. Like,
Dude, you would not want to walk on over like a top pick, like the best guy in like the
would you
nation
want
or
to
something.
walk on
in
over
most,
Trevor
In
Lawrence?
most cases, you're gonna want the best guy.
yeah. Who
I- not a walk-on.
in that draft would you rather have, the quarterback?
Darnold, Locke, and Allen.
Locke?
Mayfield is like 5th on the list for me.
No, I'll
Locke?
take Mayfield over Locke for sure.
I'll put
Josh
money on it.
Allen's
I
number
feel like
one. in
I
that.
feel
Sam
like
Josh
Locke,
Allen's
I
number
feel like
one.
Locke could end up having a better career.
Sam Darnold has
wouldn't be a huge
no
str-
balls. He doesn't. He's just a California kid. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield than Sam Darnold.
He's got talent though. If he could put it
I
together,
haven't seen it.
If he could put it together, I think.
I mean, you see this talent that Deshaun Watson has every week he's throwing to. He makes it work. Kyler Murray last year, he made it work.
There's a difference.
Yeah, and
between
I've said the same thing to you about Cam. He should just be able to make it work. There's other quarterbacks that can make
Cam's
it work.
30. I'm talking about 22, 23-year-old athletic guys.
There's also a difference between
Cam's
quarterbacks
over
who
the hill.
can make it work no matter what's around them and quarterbacks who are there to drive the car. Cam Newton right now is a quarterback who's here to drive the car. Baker Mayfield is
a
a
very
drive the
small
car.
car.
Sure. Baker Mayfield
Prius.
is a drive the car type of guy.
They thought he was going to be more of a car, though.
They
If
sure
this is
did. You
gonna
don't
be a-
draft a guy one to drive the car. I get it. But Darnold has talent to be the car, to be the franchise. He hasn't showed it, and he hasn't showed it in the NFL. You're not wrong there, Justin. But he's got it. Baker Mayfield never had it. He was a walk-on who had elite ability to read the game and elite accuracy, and he has done neither of those in the NFL
Did in his
outside of his
rookie
rookie
year.
year.
Yeah.
Outside of his rookie year.
He's also had 3 different head coaches. I'm not giving excuses for the guy. I'm just saying I'd rather have him than Sam Darnold. I don't know. I don't think Sam Darnold's ever going to be anything.
I don't blame Sam Darnold at all. I think I give him a hall pass. I give him the David Carr pass. Like, you give him the pass.
He has more talent than Baker, but I don't know.
Speaking of young quarterbacks, what do we think about Kyler Murray after this weekend? That incredible toss.
MVP.
I mean, just killing the
MVP.
hearts of the Bills.
MVP.
Was it an incredible toss?
It was. It was
I mean,
right on the money. It was
if
a
you
perfect
saw,
toss.
did you see him slip that defender at
It was
the
a
end before he
perfect
had to
toss.
throw that? Too? I
Yes.
think for having to maneuver out of the pocket and slip that defender and then throwing that, and giving him a chance to even catch that.
I think it was a really good pass. I think it was an unbelievable catch. I think that was all catch.
But how crazy is
has
he?
to get there good enough
Like
though.
he juked the guy and then on one leg flick of the wrist. Like I think him and Rodgers are the only guys in the NFL that can just throw a ball like that, the flick of the wrist.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. I mean, the catch too. I mean, you said it, but I feel like that's one of those plays you could watch 10 straight times, and you're like, I can't believe.
Bill O'Brien had a long night with a big bottle of Jack Daniels last night to himself in his basement, trading